Welcome back, guys, to This and Much More. I'm Evelyn, and my co-host is
Rollie Vogues.
And our special guest today is...
My name is Jeremy Pena. I'm a professional breaker and the president of Break Free Worldwide.
There you go.
The way that flows so naturally.
It was like just embedded in his head, right?
Yeah.
It's like a battle. It's like stepping out in a battle on the stage.
There you go. You just gotta be
No,
ready to
it's
go.
not like a battle.
So, welcome to the podcast. I kind of want to know a little bit, like, about how you started, like everything,
like your background.
Yeah, for the people that don't know, because you're with Break Free, president of Break Free. So let's kind of backtrack a little bit, right?
Yeah. Where did you grow up? How old are you?
I'm 32.
You're 32?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about your parents? Do you speak Spanish?
No, I'm half. I don't speak, but I'm half Spanish. Yeah, my father never taught me.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
What about your kids? Do they know or no?
No, my wife is Vietnamese.
Okay.
So they speak a little bit of Vietnamese, a little bit of Spanish, but I'm not going to lie and say
that they're like fluent.
Yeah, because I'm not fluent in it. I can understand it a little bit, but my father and his side of his family's from Monterey, and my mother is from Atlanta, Georgia. White girl from Atlanta.
Yeah. And then,
Right.
So how did you get into like the Break Free?
Yeah, so breaking for me started with my brother, Palmer, who's a world-renowned breaker. He started breaking around 99, 2000. We have about a 6-year age gap. So around my age of like 8 to 14, I witnessed him breaking like firsthand and him kind of developing a passion and becoming really good with it. But I didn't start breaking until 2006. I always love to share. It's funny, you know, him and I love my brother. We have a great relationship. But, you know, between 8 and 14, I would always tell him, like, why are you dancing? Like, only girls do that.
Yeah.
You know? And here I am now. This is what I do for a living 18 years later. But I grew up seeing him learn from some of the best in Houston, him get a lot of opportunities and develop a passion and dedication to it. But what really got me hooked into it is I went to an event for the first time in 2006. It's this big, large-scale competition they used to throw here in Houston. It's called B-Boy Hoedown. And this is the first time outside of videos and tapes and whatnot that I was able to see the energy of a battle for the first time in a competition.
Yeah.
So that inspired me to kind of convict myself and dedicate to break. And before that, I had hoop dreams. I was a basketball player.
You are pretty tall.
You know, a lot. I was gonna say not a lot of breakers are good at basketball, so I consider myself one of the best b-boy basketball players. But anyways, I dropped that to break, and 2006. All these years later, between Break Free and being a professional through competitions, that's what I've been able. I thank God to provide for my family and be able to establish a career off of it. So.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned, about your brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you feel like you got connected because of your brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My brother, he got good really quick, and he started to learn from some of the best in Houston, some of the pioneers of Texas breaking and USA breaking in general here in Houston, which is Havocoro Crew, Moy, Little John, Marlon, Mario, the likes of some of the best dancers in Houston. So, you know, him developing that network of teachers and those relationships with them really benefited me whenever when I decided to dance. Mm-hmm. So when I made that decision to do so, I already had like a network of some of the best teachers to do that. So I attribute that to my motivation and inspiration for the work I do with Break Free today and how we educate and provide opportunities to youth, because I really see it as a blessing that I was able to learn from some of the best and have that opportunity. So especially with something as unique as breaking and as niche as breaking, like you don't see breaking education in general, and so that makes professional breaking education even that much more scarce, you know.
Yeah.
And dedicated, passionate teachers. So that's always attribute that to, you know, the work that I do with Break Free and my passion that I developed for educating kids.
And so I'm guessing your parents were like were cool with you, like just getting into the breaking world?
They were cool because my brother took the brunt of all the stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, he already proved that breaking is viable, and he got really good at it, and he traveled the world with it. So, you know, when I did it, it was kind of natural and something that they already were aware.
Well, they're like
familiar
probably thinking, oh, he's following his brother's footsteps.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
What
even-
if you don't mind me asking, what did your dad do?
My dad is a used car salesman.
Oh,
He's still,
okay.
yeah, he still sells cars. He's 76 years old, and he's been doing that for about 35 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's a hard worker. I attribute my work ethic from him for sure. You
Yeah.
know, he's a type.
Well,
Never goes to
a
the
sales- Oh,
Yeah, never goes to the doctor. You know,
Yeah.
mind over matter type of guy.
Yeah.
Stubborn in a lot of ways, but that's good in a lot of ways too. So
yeah. Well, I guess because the reason I was asking is because I wonder what he would tell your brother, like, because I mean,
in the beginning,
yeah, because breaking is just like,
yeah,
and he's Hispanic, so I would think like, oh no, you have to get
Yeah,
a
like
real
if
job.
you know, like if you had that mentality as a kid, like why are you dancing? You know,
yeah,
I wonder what a grown man
yeah.
would say. You
Well,
know?
he's very outside of that stubbornness. He's very loving too. So
Mm.
there might have been some resistance at first, but he's always been so supportive and a believer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a believer in what we do. And like I said, he got pretty quickly. And my brother too, he's held a 9-to-5, like a good 9-to-5 since he was 18.
Oh,
So
I see.
Yeah, so breaking has always been like, you know, even though it's his hobby, it's also he's a professional at it because he's considered one of the best, and he gets a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
With it too.
Okay, so how do you get considered a professional breaker?
That's a good question. So a lot of people put that in their Instagram bios nowadays. Not even just with breakers, but a lot of fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, the honest answer to it is kind of, for breaking, it's kind of arbitrary. Like, you can just call yourself a professional. So like if somebody wins a competition, they can say, oh, I'm a professional. Or
Yeah, suddenly like, all right.
yeah. It's a great question though, because with what we do at Break Free, one of the biggest things is establishing like a viable career path for breakers. Like as it exists right now, even, and especially in its history, like the only career path for breakers in general, and dancers too, is like, you know, moving to Hollywood and becoming an entertainer, or
Yeah.
Vegas, or moving in a market where you can entertain. And then in breakers, it's like enter the competitive circuit and being a high earning competitor, but those high earnings are not even high.
Yeah, they're not.
And then you have to win and, you know, live that type of lifestyle. So, you know, the other way of answering that is like I like to say the work we do at Break Free is trying to create what it really means to be a professional breaker.
Yeah.
You know, another simple way of looking at it is that you're at, like, it's all that I do. Like, I don't have any other job. And that's been the case since 2012, you know. So
For you.
Yeah, for me.
And what were you doing before that?
I was working at Sprint. Sprint and
Selling-
Outback Steakhouse. Yeah.
Sprint.
Yeah, I was a barback and a cell phone service man, salesman, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty great. And how were you able to like get out of that?
So in 2012, you know, I mentioned, let me go back. In 2006, I decided to start breaking, and I was blessed to be able to get under the mentorship of my brother and Moy and other professionals. And, you know, through this mentorship, I, of course, developed a hunger to, like, be one of the best and get good at it and compete. But Moy and my brother and other mentors of mine always instilled in me from the beginning a sense of passing knowledge down and educating. And breaking in general, too, like, it's naturally and organically geared towards youth and educating. More so than any other, like, hip-hop art form, I would say.
Yeah.
It's another way of saying that is, like, it's
Yeah,
the
'cause-
easiest art form for a kid to pick up and do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
not like you're gonna teach a kid how to rap or
Yeah.
how to be a DJ right away.
Yeah.
Even though I have seen like there's the girl DJ that played.
Fina.
Oh, I seen her. Yeah.
Fina, the MC.
Yeah.
And the girl DJ. Yeah, big shout out to Fina.
Yeah, I've seen her, but there's a girl DJ at the Kids Fest.
She is, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wow, like she was like 11, I think.
She's a Break Free student, yeah.
Oh,
Chloe.
she was. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really cool because
Yes.
she's so young, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I can't imagine that it was easy to teach.
No, yeah, DJing,
Yeah.
and I think DJing art and MCing or poetry, there's a bigger learning curve. You know, with breaking, you just need music and yourself.
And you just
Yeah,
need
that's all
to
the
have
tools
the
you need.
energy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's 3-year-old, 2-year-olds. That's what they do naturally. You know, so I think it's it's something that organically, it's youth based more so than a lot of other art forms, and it's organic. So I picked up this this thing from a young age, from my career early, to be able to educate and know how to teach and know what it means to teach and do it effectively. So between 2006 and 2012, I was kind of developing this knowledge and this passing down from my teachers of this. And then in 2012, Moy founded Break Free. He opened up Break Free as Break Free Community Center at first. And I was working at Sprint, and I'll never forget the call he gave to me, and he said he wanted me to come on and kind of be his right-hand man and build this with him. Couldn't offer me pay at first because this is something from the ground up that we're starting. We had to build this business from the start. But I had no question and no doubt from the beginning. You know, at that point already, 6 years deep into it, I knew this is something I wanted to do for a living. So.
And were you married at the time, or
no.
did you were single?
I had just met my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say you didn't have like the big responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So it was an easy decision at the time.
It was an easy decision because of that, but also again because like I knew it was what I wanted to do. I was passionate about it.
Yeah.
I was very passionate about it, and I made up my mind through one way I was gonna make this my career, and I was gonna do this for the rest of my life. And thank God for what Moy started and his mentorship to me. It has allowed me to do that since then. So that's what, you know, I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but I was fully convicted in the fact that I would be able to make it happen alongside him and others who have been a part of our team throughout the years.
Yeah.
What do you think would sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, what do you think has been one of the hardest things for you to overcome in this career?
It's definitely, the hardest thing has definitely been just how can I say it? It's like the convincing, I guess, or like getting people to see the vision, because I think breaking is something that a lot of people have their minds made up on what it is, like and the surface value of what it is, meaning like it's just dance or it's just entertainment, something like that. And something like that, especially like when you compare it to DJing or art or skateboarding even, there's like obvious like monetary value in it. Like you can sell skateboards, you can sell DJ equipment, you can sell art candy, like your services. So with breaking, it's just you and music, like we mentioned. So with that, it's like, oh, you can hire you, we'll give you $100 to come dance at our party.
Yeah.
You know, so the hardest thing has been able, through example, is showing that it's much more than that, and it's much more valuable than that, and there's way more opportunities and resources in that. And I'll be honest, it's like there's so few examples of that, and it's such a hard thing to do that, you know, I mentioned we've been doing it since 2012, and I thank God for the success, but I think it's the case for any motivated individual. Anyone can say like, we want to do so much more, you know what I mean? But like I mentioned, this is all that I do, and so what I have in my head for what I want myself to do and what I want Break Free to become, it's like light years. Like I've realized that, like, you know, again, we're setting the foundation for careers and kind of changing the perspective on what breaking can be seen. And I know that takes years, you know what I mean? So
would you consider like your early stages still to what you want to eventually see it become?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, very ambitious. I have very, very like crazy dreams about what breaking can turn into. To be specific, is like I want there to be like a league for breakers, competitive league like the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, for breakers. So that for a full infrastructure and a system to be put out and a league to be started that can allow for like entertainment and for it to make sense, and for there to be like an established league for breakers that can compensate and pay like that, you know. So.
Yeah. You know, this is kind of random, but it kind of goes with it. How you said like I like I'm thinking about movies, but the only breaking movie I've ever seen is You Got Served, and I don't know if Honey counts. Honey counts.
Yeah.
You say it counts.
Let's throw it in there.
But I feel like those two movies, like, what did
Step Up?
Step Up? Isn't Step Up like
No, yeah, it's like a
breakdancing, or is it more
they
like
have breaking in it? They have breaking.
Oh, they okay.
Yeah.
But I know You Got Served was just like strictly like
A lot of
breaking.
people got introduced to
yeah, dude. I remember we got the DVD, and then we got the how to dance DVD. So
along with it, instructional.
Yeah. So me and my brothers would be like dancing to.
Wait, when did it come out?
I don't know.
It's old, right?
Yeah, I don't know the year.
We're
mid 2000s.
Oh, okay. So
Probably.
Did you get into it because of it?
No.
No, but were you already doing it?
Yeah, I was already doing it.
So
okay.
So this, like, whenever you saw it, did that kind of like...
I've never even seen You Got Served.
You never seen it?
What?
Oh, damn. I'm not like, they have
I've seen clips.
You seen clips? They have.
And what do you think? You're like, oh my god.
No, I know people who were in that movie. You know, who were featured in it. Yeah, like, and so it's cool. It's awesome. But it's just I shared like my story. I learned it from the people around, the authenticity around me and stuff.
Yeah.
But whether it's the Olympics or You Got Served, I think I'm not like hating on it or anything. If it's a way to introduce people to it, then it's super valuable. It brings eyes and visibility to it. So
Yeah.
So why haven't you watched it?
I don't know.
You're like, it's fake.
I'm not hating on it.
No, but I'm not gonna lie. Like now, I feel like the last time I saw it was, I don't know. I was probably showing my son like some clips or whatever. Pero I'll see it and then I'm like, oh, they cut into this. Like, obviously they have to do different takes.
Yeah.
And then you can tell when the cut is like off. And
obvious,
I'm like,
right?
Yeah, it's obvious. And I'm like, like it's not a legit, like, it's choreographed, obviously, but it's like not how it would be.
Well, whenever you're a kid, you don't know that.
Yeah, because that is how we got introduced to it. Like, I didn't know about break. Oh, I did. But to see it in that form, it was like cool,
Yeah.
It was when Steve Harvey had like hair and stuff. Yeah, he had a little fro and everything.
Yeah, he did.
I got introduced to it by my ex-brother-in-law.
Oh yeah.
Because he used to be a part of like a dance crew. I think it was like Dance Elements or something like that, and they used to have like a little shop with Adrian. He's a DJ now.
Yeah,
with him, and they used
Flo.
to do like Flo, and I remember they used to do like salsa, like different type of but it wasn't all breaking. He just would do all types of music. Do y'all do
dance.
that? Yeah.
We have a freestyle dance class taught by SETI B. So yeah, we have another art form.
Oh, okay.
That's offered there, other dance, along with DJing, along with art as well. So breaking is definitely the foundation, our flagship program.
So I was gonna ask. I know y'all did it for the Kids Fest, right? But do y'all do the free class, the first class? Is it like year round or is it just like...
It's year round, yeah. So the program is like a progress-based program. You can look at it like that. So the students have a journey where they can level up in programs. And obviously as the levels get higher, they get more opportunities, more challenges. But it's defined by two main things. Is we have 2 recitals throughout the year. So they do a big theater production that they work towards in the summer and the winter. And then we have what we call our breaking league, which is like an inter-school battle. So they prepare for a 6-month season where they compete in a standardized setting, similar to like when I go out nationally or internationally and compete. So introducing students to kind of that platform and earning cash prizes and being able to get points on leaderboards and get rankings in that way.
Oh, that is cool. So cool.
Yeah.
So y'all do like a whole event basically, right?
Yeah. So the program is, learn as you go and progress based, and some students develop a passion for it and want to make it a career. Yeah. Some students want it recreationally, and it's accommodating for both of those, I would say.
Has there been one kid that started early and like has grown like into like adulthood?
I'm sure a few, right?
Like, yeah. So the two instructors at our Southeast location, the lead instructors are some of the oldest the students who've been with us since the beginning, Isaac and Cullen. So these are students who came from scratch, and myself and Moy, and also Palmer, who's a main teacher at Break Free, has mentored and taught these kids. Since
Your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Since they were 8 or 9 years old, and now they're 17, 18, 19 years old. And Isaac, since last year, has been teaching, and I just recently hired Cullen. So it's a very full circle, cool moment. These kids who I taught since they were little developed a passion, became some of the best students. And now I'm able to employ them and pay them as teachers.
Oh, that's
wow, that is so cool. Like a full circle.
Yeah, definitely.
So are the classes like mixed ages then?
Yes.
Like so.
Yeah, ages 3 on up. So we have the youngest toddler group is ages 3 to 5. We call them the boom baps, like the drums. And ages 6 on up is beginners and intermediates, and then we have adults classes as well. The highest level we have is called champions, which is our students who have dedicated years, started to compete nationally, like the youth circuit and whatnot. So
the 6 and up that's when it's like 6 and 13-year-olds and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's usually the age range. And then when we have like 14, 15 on up, they'll either go to like the adult class or intermediate, like with the older students. So yeah.
One question that I didn't ask Moy, it's like a breakdancing question. like the type of music that y'all use in class or whatever, is it always like the old school hip hop stuff, or is there current music that y'all use too?
No, I would there's the best way to look at it genre wise is like funk music. In particular, where the word break comes from is in funk music in particular. There's a certain section of songs called the break, where the vocals drop out and it's fast drums, boom boom bap boom boom bap. So that was a defining aspect of funk music in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So the way breaking started is at block parties in New York in the 70s and 80s when they would play these songs, and the break part would come on, heavy drums, fast drums. That's how breaking formed organically, is people would just start to go off whenever this fast-paced music would come, you know. So funk, breaks, and then 90s hip-hop. And in a modern sense, I would say, especially with the younger generation, you know, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, breaking it, you know, even though breaking has its foundation in that, it's also free form in the way where you can get down to anything, you know, especially if you're artistic and you're comfortable with your style. You really could break to anything if you want to. So, yeah.
Because I'm like, people aren't gonna break to Drake or something, are they?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, because it's always like, well, especially like at hip hop, like they'll play a lot of like the old school stuff, you know, and that's what they're dancing to and stuff. But
90s hip hop, early 2000s instrumentals,
and it's funny because you could see who the breakers are.
Like fashion wise,
the way they're dressed is so comfortable. And
what's your like go to like
sweats and a t-shirt?
I mean, I don't know. That's like that's kind of hard to answer. I guess it's like what's your favorite song type thing. I guess too, you know, like it's
with your outfit.
Like I don't have one favorite thing, I would say, but I like in a breaking sense. I like wearing pants. Definitely, some people like wearing shorts. You know, but
because that'd be kind of crazy.
I can break in anything really, but comfortability wise, usually like sweats and a shirt.
Do you and your brother ever battle now as grown-ups?
More so together now. You know.
Not against each other.
We've gone against each other plenty of times. Yeah.
Really?
Whether in competition or just
for fun.
Yeah. You know, the way I was taught breaking was like from a battle sense. Like, so even when I was young, my mentors would just like always like the way they taught me would just battle me. You know, teaching breaking in studios, like my generation around those years who started, it's probably like the last generation to not learn in the way that students learn now, which is like in studio settings and different things like that. I mentioned like with what we do at Break Free, we're one of the first breaking specific schools in history, you know, and that's kind of led to a lot more opening up, especially with the Olympics now. So you have 7, even 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds starting now and doing crazy moves because they learn in the studio now, and they learn from dedicated instructors.
They're getting the resources.
Exactly.
The proper resources.
But for me, you know, like I mentioned, like I don't remember a time where they would sit me down and be like, all right, do this and do this and do this and do this and do this. It was just I would be around.
It's just like watch me.
Or battle me, you know, and I had to learn myself in that way, you know. There's pros and cons to that. On both sides,
but it's one of those things too. Like back in the day, the way you were brought up as a kid is different. Parenting is like now they're like, oh, that's gentle parenting, right?
Yeah.
To an extent, right? But I just think there's things that need to change over time. I think change is good.
Yeah.
You know? And then, do you have like a specific style of dance that you do?
I would say breaking is very like diverse, you know. It's a dance where like even when I teach it to kids, the first thing I tell them on day one is that I'm going to teach them the moves, but it's about you taking the moves and turning it into your own way. Like really encouraging them to say like, hey, this is the foundation of moves, but it's not you have to do it like this. Like I'm going to guide you to the foundation, you take that and you create your own style from it, you know. So if people are doing it right, they should develop their own style, you know. Of course you have people who copy or bite or look like others, you know. I would say what people consider my style is like more like footwork based. Meaning like the steps and the quick movements on the floor. What we call threads, like flexible things like that. And then like I'm known for nobody dances like me. Like I do moves that people like there's not a name to them really, you know. And then there's more dancers who are more like strict and traditional and to do combination of things, or more dancers who fly and do power moves and combinations in the air like that. So it's one of the great aspects of breaking is something there for everybody in a way, you know?
I love that.
And is it natural? Is it like unusual, or is it like usually like you find your own little crew of like, if there's a battle, like do you go with a crew or you just like by yourself or what?
That's a good question. Yeah, especially if you go to a battle for the first time, it's like there's a lot happening. And there's a lot of like, how does this like? Well, did they pick the music beforehand? You know, but it's all pretty organic. You know, I would say is from
go with the flow.
Yeah. So even in a crew sense, it's like I shared my story. Like I was through my brother, but everybody who kind of forms their own crews or their mentors, it all happens organically, and you end up teaming up with people.
That I'm sure that you just gravitate towards.
Exactly. Yeah. Outside of that, of course, there's like sponsorships, and you know, like I match up through my sponsorship with Monster. I match up with other Monster athletes who, you know, I develop relationships with. So that's happening a lot nowadays too, is people going outside of their crews and teaming up with others from around the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, guys, we're gonna go on a quick break, and we'll be back.
Yes, sir. So, okay, I kind of want to talk about like early days of like Break Free. So compared to now, right? So now you guys have like this, how many locations is it?
We have 2 now. So we have one in Houston and one in Kansas City.
Okay. Are y'all working on a third one?
We did previously have 2 others in Houston that we temporarily closed down. And we have a franchise model that we're actively expanding on.
Okay.
Throughout the world,
Okay, that's dope. So let's say, that's the now. What did the early days, whenever I'm always like, hey, you know, come with me full time, like what did that look like?
Yeah, so not a lot of people know, but the first name for Break Free was Break Free Community Center, BFCC, and the important thing to bring that up, like it's a great way to summarize the early days of Break Free, because it was a community center. Like it wasn't based around a hip hop school, which it is now, Break Free Hip Hop School. Yeah. So Break Free Community Center was, you know, inspired by, I have to give a big shout out to Youth Advocates. They're a nonprofit organization from the early 90s that threw a weekly practice spot for breakers, and it kind of harbored this Houston scene of breakers, including Havoc Coral Crew and Moy and Palmer and everybody who mentored me. So that was a big inspiration to open up Break Free Community Center and just have a place of business, but also a place of gathering, and a place for breakers to have a safe spot to come in, hip hop artists in general.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned earlier kind of about the organic leading to education in a business sense. So of course, even when it was Break Free Community Center, we started to do classes, weekly classes for youth, and that became the biggest part of it. So that kind of morphed into Break Free Hip Hop School, which was established shortly after that. And Break Free Worldwide is the umbrella agency for not only Break Free Hip Hop Schools, but every other business endeavor that we do, which includes entertainment services, content creation, artist management, like acquiring sponsors, event production, and different things like that. So a great way to look at it is it started as just a community center, and then 12 years later, 12 years later, we have Break Free Worldwide, which manages Break Free Hip Hop Schools and all the other aspects of our business that we do.
Yeah, it's because I don't know, just the growth of it itself, or like where you guys are at now, it's just like, it's pretty crazy. And I go over there to like to the office side, I guess, like with the studio side, right, where June is at and all that.
That's considered the headquarters, no?
It's we have our school there, and we also have our office space there, so our headquarters.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I don't think I've ever seen the other side.
The school side?
Yeah, the school side. Yeah. So whenever you said like there was a game room and all this, like I've been there one time, like years ago.
Yeah, it's changed a lot since then. Yeah. We've added a lot more. So.
Yeah, my niece had her first party there.
Did she?
Yeah, it was, I don't know if you know him, but his name's Guido.
It sounds from, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and my niece's first birthday. Yeah. Her first birthday was there, like, but I think it was like when y'all had, in 2012.
Yeah.
No, she was born in 2012, so 2013.
Guido's wife, his name, what's her name?
her name is his wife now is Felicia.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
small world.
Yeah. So that's the only. I think I went there that time, and then a time after that, like a few years, and it was with him too. I think, right? It must have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but since then we just haven't. We've been to we actually hosted our podcast 100 episode event at the headquarters.
Yeah. No, I'm aware.
He's like, but yeah, so we had so I haven't been to the other side in like a few years.
Yeah. That's where the school is on.
Did it expand like you guys got the next spot or what?
So we started 2012 at that same business lot, but in the corner unit. We're not there no longer, so we were there for about 5 years, and then we actually moved into a Midtown location off of Spring Street, right in the heart of like downtown Midtown.
Yeah.
And we were there for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then we came back to the original location and expanded into 3 units versus 1.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I do remember it not being that one, but I didn't know if I was like going crazy because I was like, I think it was like in the corner.
In the corner. Yeah, so same business lot, but in the corner unit.
Yeah, because I remember like for Melody's birthday, it was in the corner. And I mean that was 2013, so then
and that's why I'm picturing like, oh, it was small. So I'm like,
yeah, it was small.
There was a game room and like or arcade room and all this. Like I'm like, where, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the next
3
side.
separate units. We combined 2 units, and then I think we all hosted the party was the 3rd unit at the very end.
The corner one. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
pretty dope. Okay, so now I want to kind of get into like, I guess opportunities that you've been like presented with. Like I know. I don't know everything, and I don't know how much you can talk about, but I know like Moy and June, they've told me like that, like you get like you have something with like Asics.
Saucony.
Saucony. I'm sorry. Yeah, Saucony. So it's like Saucony. Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a interesting story. And this year, I was able to finalize a deal with them. Something I've been working on with them for about 3 or 4 years. And the best way to understand the story is to kind of go back. For those that don't know, Monster Energy is a big supporter of Break Free, or has been a big supporter of Break Free. Moy started a program with them in about, I think 2012, 2013. For those that don't know, Red Bull is like a long-term supporter of breaking. They're one of the first companies to come in.
Yeah, I was going to say like, because I know at hip hop I see Red Bull, but then with Moy I see Monster.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So Red Bull since early 2000s has been a contributor to breaking and sponsor breaking in many different ways. So Moy approached Monster with an idea of bringing them in and kind of having an alternative for breakers to support and another company to come in and support breaking. And it was pitched from a structure of a team, like a team of ambassadors or athletes, like a competitive breaking team. And it was picked up through a process of the reason why this relates to the Saucony story is Moy being my mentor in a lot of different ways. How he started the Monster program is how I started what I have with Saucony now. So he formed a relationship with somebody at Monster, and it started on a product level of, hey, just send me some stuff. I have this vision, but I know what it means to start something, so I'll prove something to y'all and what a proof of concept is. So being able to use product to create content to show how that can be used, and that eventually turned into a deal for 2 breakers or 3 breakers, and that eventually turned into a deal for 4, then a deal into 8, and a deal into, I think, 10 or 12 now is the roster of what it has now. So over the years, they have been able, through Break Free, to sponsor breakers on a national level, which includes monthly pay and paying for events and content photo shoots, and also different sponsorship for events, and just being a supporter of the breaking scene in general and whoever is on the Monster team. Yeah. And with Saucony, I approached them in 2017, 2018, just through a DM, just through, me. At the time, I was competing heavily. And, through what I've been mentored, I wanted to bring in kind of the same vision of a corporate brand coming in to sponsor breaking, and sneakers are of an obvious choice for, alignment and synergy with breakers and a corporate brand. So I reached out to Saucony in DM, and it was crazy because the guy who I ended up meeting and connecting with, he was a former breaker. So I sent the DM just out of nowhere, telling him I would love to speak about a vision, a proposal I had. And he was like, oh, I'm actually my name is Jason, and I'm a breaker from New York. I used to be a breaker, and I love Havocoro Crew." And I was like, it was like the best response I could have gotten. I was like, "Oh, awesome," you know. And I connected with him, and I pitched the blue sky vision right away. Like, I want to bring in a breaker team. I want Saucony supported. If Saucony's the shoe to do this. And at the time, for those that don't know, Saucony is like a running dominant brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's their running shoe. So they don't sponsor any other athletes or rappers or influencers or anybody except runners.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, this is a pretty crazy idea. It's ambitious. Like, no one's going to take to this right away. But I think there's, of course, potential. I believe in it. You work with me. Like, I would love to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, same thing in a similar way. I was able to form a relationship with him, and I could get product all day, like shoes. And since then, I've only rocked their shoes in competitions and created content in their shoes. And I've been able to, over the years, you know, shoot some campaigns with them, get a budget every once in a while. But fast forward to last year, Jason came to me and he said that they had a budget for a shoot that they wanted to do for Paris 2024 Olympics and include breakers. So throughout these years, Jason has done his best to pitch to his company and his people about breaking and the vision that him and I have of bringing it in.
Yeah.
And then finally, you know, after all these years of whether it's the campaigns or him talking to them, they get a budget and they're like, well, you know, and this is the case with a lot of brands, of course, now this year in breaking, is the Olympics is not an excuse, but it's, of course, justification for them to come in because the Olympics is such a huge platform, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I in December, I had a meeting with Jason and some of the executives in marketing department at Saucony, and they came to me with this idea, like, hey, we can shoot this budget, or we have this budget, and we can shoot this campaign for Paris in 2024, and we would like to highlight breakers, and we would love for you to do it. And I was like, oh, that sounds good, but if you guys, you know, add a little more to this budget and do this, I can give y'all this much more. You know, I can give y'all a full team. You can sponsor these breakers every month. They can get monthly pay, and instead of just one video, we tie in Saucony to breaking, and we tie in this vision of a big marketing campaign and a big push and loyalty from these breakers, not just one content shoot.
Yeah.
And they loved it, and they absolutely loved it, and they picked it up, and it was finalized last month, actually, where myself and 3 others are now going to be considered like official Saucony athletes, and they'll be supporting us every month and building on other content campaigns and different things like that. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is so cool.
I have to, you know, I mentioned I have to give a big shout out to Moy, because, you know, that vision, I wouldn't have been able to execute that without him and his mentorship to me and what he did with Monster. And I think it's a great example. I hope it can serve as a great example to like any creative or artist. And a lot of people say what they want about corporate brands and sponsorships and things like that, but I think especially for something like breaking that needs support, it's absolutely necessary. And that, I know 100% that's the process of what it has to be. It has to be forming relationships with people there, and not just forming relationships, but like having an actual vision.
Yeah,
you know? 'Cause
like they're not just gonna give you something if you're not giving anything in return.
Sure.
It's different than people. I feel like people kind of have this, especially nowadays, they have like this, what's the word, like social media, like influencer like mentality, where it's like, hey, let me reach out to Saucony and like, hey, can you send me shoes, and you know, like a quick little for a TikTok or whatever, you know. But the way you came about it was like with something behind you, something big, you know.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's what like is gonna work at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, because, you know, I mentioned with Paris, there's a lot of brands who are coming in. Like Nike just announced they're doing a breaking shoe. They're doing an actual breaking shoe, and Nike and Adidas and Ralph Lauren and all these brands are like starting to do ambassadorships with breakers. And I think it's awesome. It's so great to have brands come in, and like not since the 80s has breaking has this kind of mainstream attention and corporate attention and money coming in. But I also am a little bit worried because, you know, I mentioned to you, they came to me with an idea for a Paris campaign and an Olympics campaign, you know.
Yeah.
But I was able to successfully kind of pivot it to not be so centered around the Olympics, but breaking, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've been doing this for I've been doing almost 20 years, almost 25, my brother 25 years. So regardless of the Olympics, we're here. And for me, I want brands to come in yeah, they can recognize it because of the Olympics, but the way they're going to stay is through like an actual story, an actual vision of breaking and the value of breaking. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's natural. I know it's going to happen, but I hope through my examples and other examples it can be seen. Like you can't just like typical influencerships or like one post or three posts or 3 months or
because it's like
discount codes, like different things like that.
But I also think it's like how you said, you're building that relationship, and I think that's what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's more long term, and it's more like there, like instead of like
Didn't Moy say something like it was like a marriage or something like that, or am I
like a partnership?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because if it's not, then it's if you want to use that metaphor, it's just like a meaningless relationship.
Yeah.
It's like it has no merit or no worth. You may get some short-term money out of it or short-term pleasure, but it's nothing that will really bring like fruits to your life like that, So
honestly, I'm like, all right, it's cool because so breaking is like getting this recognition, especially now. And then I talked to June, and June's like in this whole barber world, and like I'm seeing this barber world going crazy too, like sponsorships and shit, and I don't know. So like now I'm like, all right, I'm in the like graphic design like world or whatever, and I deal with a lot, man. Like I deal with a lot of like I get like the low budget, like if it's like I'm talking about like in the music industry, if they come to me for a design or whatever, I get the end of it, like all right, we have this much left, like this is what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like so I kind of want to, the way you guys were able to like bring the breaking like up like that, I kind of want to do that in graphic design, but I wouldn't even know how to even take those first steps.
You gotta have a team, or not just a team, but like it's a numbers game at that point. It's like a standard that's set basically. So like in breaking industry, a good way of looking at it is like if you have a dancer who accepts a gig, a performance for $50 or $100, and that continues, and that's the standard. Whenever people are contracting or doing that, like that's who they'll go to.
Yeah. Because
in the corporation's eyes, or somebody who's hiring somebody's eyes, they are only going to look at breaking in the lens of an uneducated perspective. Meaning like, oh, we're just gonna get some dancers to do some entertainment, or we'll just hire some dancers to shoot. They're gonna look cool wearing our shoes.
Yeah.
But it takes a somebody who actually knows. It takes not just one, but more people authentically sharing that vision and saying, this is what breaking actually is, and this is the value it has, or this is what graphic design actually is, and this is the value that it has. And once more people do that, then that sets a new standard, and it's something that happens over time, definitely. Like I mentioned that Saucony thing's 3 or 4 years. It's patience. It's definitely patience, and it's conviction at the end of the day too. Like if feeling it in your heart that you're gonna make this happen, you're gonna make it happen, and sticking to your guns.
Yeah, because that's what I was telling her. I was like, man, because I had like this recently, right? Like I sent them like an invoice for this amount of money, and then they returned like a contract, and on the contract they gave me like less. Like it was like, hey, this is gonna be your payout, whatever, and I'm like, no, fuck that. Like I was like, that's not what I asked for. But I mean, it's a big company, so I'm just like, man, I don't know if I should even like fight it, or what do I stay quiet? Because then I'm not gonna be able to work with they're gonna be there's gonna be some sort of like headbuttings. But I was like, you know what? And I told her, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just tell them like, yo, that's wrong, like professionally, right? But I'm like, it's wrong. What can we do to fix it? And I told her if they come back with like hey, this is what we're giving you, I'm still gonna take it, but now I'm just like, all right, if I lose this relationship with them, then it's done for. But now I have it under my belt. Like it's like, all right, I've done work for them.
For sure.
And it's not like it ended on your end. It'd be more like it ended on their end.
Yeah.
Because
you put the ball in their court.
Yeah.
And you put your foot down too, in a way too.
Yeah.
In a respectful way.
Yeah. But I did, and then they corrected it. So it was like, all right, we're good.
There you go.
Like
staying professional help.
Yeah. So it's about doing that. Not just from you, but from more people in your field, and then it really takes that, So that's the idea behind Break Free too, is just trying to create a representation for breakers around the world that it's possible.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, Because, you know, if there's not an example of that and if it's not being shown, then some people might not even get inspired or think it's possible to do that. So
yeah, that's true. So where do you see like the future like going, like for you specifically, like in breaking or break free or?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's an aspect, especially over the past couple of years, to be like completely transparent, between COVID and a lot of different things that derailed a lot of the things and plans that we had. And we're, again, to be completely honest, we're now just getting back to a point of like getting back on our feet and knowing where we're going as far as the ambitious plans that we had, you know, with things. So specifically, it's always been in our cards and in our vision to expand and put schools and cities around the world. You know, just off the sheer fact that through the power I've seen of what a place like Break Free can do for a community and for a new generation of kids, and not just for the kids, but for like young adults and adults who are breakers already, and, you know, having resources for them. That's the number one thing, is just putting more facilities in cities around the world, being able to have franchises out there and empower kids and empower communities, and also give careers to breakers and have them have a viable outlet rather than just, you know, competing or moving to Hollywood and becoming backup dancers. So that's the first thing. And then, you know, I'm still actively competing, so still competing and doing my thing there. And just expanding what we have between not just the schools, but more opportunities, more brands coming in that make sense, and partnering with them and creating cool initiatives like that. So I love and I thank God for the foundation that we've set. You know, when it comes to business foundation, it's really, not a lot of people can say that they are confident they have the foundation for their business, you know, and they like, this is it, we have it set. And I think we have that. It's just, now it's step 2 or step 3, 4, everything after that is like just making everything better and expanding it while keeping those same things preserved from the foundation.
Yeah, because it's very well structured. Like talking to Moy about it, like it was like, all right, like there's a lot behind it, you know, a lot that a lot of people don't know about. Like,
or they probably think, oh, let me just go open up a school, and not really think all the work that goes behind it. And
for sure.
The foundation, like you said, you know, so.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, we've covered a lot, you know. I think it was pretty cool. I like having the conversations like this, especially with like somebody like that we haven't really talked to you before this, honestly. Just like the quick introduction at the kids event. Yeah.
Which is funny because your name had been thrown out there.
Yeah, it was a minute.
It had been like in rotation for us, right? Like,
yeah, I know June for sure. June and Moy were like, you gotta get Jeremy, you gotta get him, you know. Like, all right, but like,
I appreciate you guys.
No, I appreciate you, bro. And then, you know, glad we finally were able to make this happen, you know, because it's just
he's always out of town.
Yeah. Oh, that's something I didn't get into. Like, how often do you travel?
Not as much anymore, honestly. But I would say like once a month.
Once a month?
Yeah, between competing or other educating or other opportunities through that, you know. So at least once a month. Yeah,
because that day at the kids event, y'all left right after that, right?
We went to Oklahoma, on the road for a competition. Competition out there, 7 hours.
No, dang. Yeah, that would have been crazy for me. I was like, I'm not leaving from here, leaving out of town. Like, going home. But other than that, appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry again. Oh my God, so embarrassed.
Everyone, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You know, Jeremy, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you guys.
Other than that, make sure you guys like the video, leave a comment, follow us on Instagram, follow Jeremy on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok, all that. Subscribe, please.
And then you guys have a website, right?
Yes. breakfreeworldwide.com.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and put all his information in the description.
Yeah, that'll all be there. That's it, guys. Much love.
Bye. Peace.
Peace.